Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to talk about some Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. There's been a lot of stuff happening in the past day or so, like file patents for some new interesting joysticks for the Nintendo Switch 2. I can definitely see this being one of Nintendo's gimmicks that they always add with some kind of new hardware. We have more accessory manufacturers coming out and giving their stuff on the Nintendo Switch 2 a pretty good look at that too. There's also some new information about the graphics of the Nintendo Switch 2, especially when it comes to DLSS. But there's also the news on Monolith being bought by Nintendo as well, 100% by the way, and just other Nintendo Switch news as well. If you guys end up enjoying this video, make sure you guys leave a like and of course subscribe if you want the latest gaming news from Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox, because I am going to cover Sony and Nintendo here and there if it interests me. Hoping tonight that actually happens, because apparently there's supposed to be two big games that are supposed to be announced and revealed at the Game Awards, so I guess we'll see. With that being said, the first thing we're going to be talking about is all the Nintendo Switch 2 stuff. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is in a pretty interesting spot, I would say. Right now, a lot of accessory manufacturers have been coming out and showcasing things that are supposed to be for the Nintendo Switch 2. The last video we did on the Nintendo Switch 2, satyfe accidentally put the Nintendo Switch 2 in its trailer. You can see it right here on your screen right now. Take a note of that exact shape because it probably looks pretty familiar to you, and will be coming up in these later photos that we're going to be showcasing from these accessory manufacturers. The post says, Switch Accessory Company has sent me an email that will have 3 models of Switch accessories. Do you want to order a case first? Now keep in mind the photos that you're seeing on your screen right now are just the cases. It's not the actual Nintendo Switch 2, but it does give us a pretty decent idea and more of an idea of those buttons and just where everything's placed on the Nintendo Switch 2, because of course the case has to match where the buttons are, right? And that's not the only Nintendo Switch 2 news we have. We do have some more information for you guys. WCCF Tech has an article and they have some more information on exactly how the resolution and frame rate is going to go, especially when it comes to Nvidia's DLSS for the Switch 2. And there are also some comparisons to the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Cons and the original Joy-Cons as well. Those comparisons are going to be on your screen right now, and it looks pretty good. It looks like the Joy-Cons are actually bigger than the original one, which is going to be fantastic for people who have bigger hands. I know some people who play the Nintendo Switch have mentioned that they have big hands and they struggle to play the Nintendo Switch, or at least grip it firmly, if you know what I mean. Kiri Pink Fury over on Twitter had this to say: more nice information about the Nintendo Switch 2. According to Switch Up, a Chinese source has sent him evidence of the Nintendo Switch 2, and Switch Up proceeded to 3D print it. Now, under that same tweet, the WCCF Tech article is, and this is what they had to say about their new information about the output of resolution when docked in handheld mode with the Nintendo Switch 2. Nintendo Switch 2 games will likely extensively use Nvidia DLSS, but the most demanding titles may not be able to target 4K and a 1080p output resolution in docked and handheld modes respectively for a few reasons. Replying to a fan question about the resolution output of the yet to be revealed console during the latest podcast, the tech experts at Digital Foundry made some interesting observations on what we should expect to see on the Nintendo Switch 2. And they go on to say, for starters, that there's no doubt that Nvidia's DLSS will widely be used on the system. They say it's going to be powered by a mobile chip as well. Of course, I mean, it's a mobile gaming system. And of course, they mentioned that it's going to be in no way in par of the current gaming systems, which I think that's what we all expected. There's no way it's going to be on par with, say, the PS5 or the PS5 Pro. You're not getting that in a handheld, no matter how much you want. Not even Nintendo. Other companies aren't going to be able to do that. It would just cost way too much money. The battery drain alone would just be a problem. I can see that in the future, of course, because as technology grows, that means things will just get stronger and easier to make. Right now, there's no way we're getting a handheld PS4 Pro. That would be amazing though, like that future is going to be fantastic. But anyways, they say based on the current versions of the upscaler, there's a very good chance that in handheld mode, DLSS will target 720p and 900p resolution output. And the reason behind this, they say, is because the higher the output, the more expensive the upscaler gets. As to what you can expect for games that were in the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 era, docked should be 1440p, which, I mean, I was kind of hoping for 4K, but that is fine too, as long as it's not abysmal like 720 or 620. I mean, I've seen the Nintendo Switch dip pretty low, so anything over that is going to be fantastic. Of course, the price is also going to be a factor with this too. Is it worth paying whatever amount they're asking for for this upgrade. That's going to be really the big deciding factor on a lot of people's minds. And then of course they have to support those games as well. They have to keep on making new games. That's going to be the very interesting thing, is how do you make a system that's already this old, even with a boost, still sell well since everyone already has an original Nintendo Switch, assuming it is going to be backwards compatible. If that leap isn't enough and if it's just too much money, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how Nintendo goes on the marketing side of the Nintendo Switch. Let me know in the comment section actually, what would Nintendo have to do to make you buy a Nintendo Switch 2? Like, what are the check marks for you guys? For me personally, what they said, 1440p in docked mode, I'm not too big of a fan of 4K. I haven't used 4K in a very long time. The frame rate is more of what I'm concerned with. If it's not a stable frame rate, depending on the game of course, 30 FPS, not the best, but it's not the worst. 60 FPS, that would be fantastic too. But a stable frame rate overall is what I'm looking for. I do want it to be more powerful, of course, and more importantly, I want games to be supported for the system. I don't want to see long stretches of games that aren't hitting the Nintendo Switch, which I don't think is going to happen because the Nintendo Switch has been fantastic with supporting games. Now, I do have to say some of this stuff is pretty concerning, because if it does end up hitting those low resolutions in some people's eyes, in my eyes, that's fine. It's a smaller screen. You're not really going to notice it on the smaller screen. But if it starts dipping low, let's say in docked mode, then we're going to have some problems here. With that being said, even though I'm pretty fine with that, for the most part anyways, I can definitely see people having things like 720 and 900p, not 1080p handheld, being an issue for people. So it's going to be interesting to see everyone's reactions on those numbers if it ends up being true. Again, this is from Digital Foundry. It's not concrete. It's not a leak. It's essentially just based on their knowledge on what we can do with our current technology. So keep that in mind. So to sum up that post, WCCF Tech made a Twitter post, or X post, or whatever you want to call it. They said this: Nintendo Switch 2 games will likely extensively use NVIDIA DLSS, but the most demanding titles may not be able to target 4K and 1080p output resolutions in docked mode and handheld modes respectively for a few reasons. The thing to keep in mind here is that it can still hit 1080p on some titles. It's not like there's not going to be any handheld 1080ps. It's just that some titles might not be able to hit it. Kind of like how you had those really hard-hitting games for the Nintendo Switch, the ones where it really struggles to hit a good resolution, like the Doom games. Those were not hitting any decent resolution. Those look like a muddy mess. It still runs, of course, which is just amazing that it runs on the hardware in and of itself. But just keep in mind, it doesn't mean that there's going to be no 1080p. And switching over to some Nintendo Switch 2 news, apparently Nintendo now owns Monolith Soft, the ones behind the Xenoblade games. This is what Go Nintendo has to say. As of today, Nintendo officially owns 100% of Monolith Soft. You might think that Nintendo was already fully in control of Monolith Soft, but they've actually held 96% of the company's stake since 2011. The other 4% were left to Monolith Soft's founders, but that is no longer the case. So that's just a little bit of interesting Nintendo Switch news. I honestly can't wait for the next game from them because I really enjoyed Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3. 1, it just didn't grab me for some reason. Maybe I'll go back and play it and just give it another chance. A lot of times that does happen. On launch, I'm not too interested in, or not launch, when I try it first, I'm not too interested, and then I'll try it later on, and then I'll be really interested. Sometimes I get really, really interested, so we'll see. But yeah, I do wonder if them wanting to own the whole thing has anything to do with like a Nintendo Switch 2 game. Maybe that's why they want that. I mean, I'm sure Monolith Soft is working on something ever since Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Maybe even at or during the development of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Maybe it got started, or maybe just throwing out ideas. I don't know. I'm just really excited to see what their next game is. Maybe it's Xenoblade Chronicles 4. In fact, I definitely want to go back and play Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and 2 again. Just a side thought there. And moving on to a new rumor, according to Hazador Gaming on Twitter, they said this: rumor, new Tales title, Tales of Acidia for PS5, Xbox Series /PC 2026. The first open world Tales adventure. Really, there hasn't been an open world Tales game? Really? Maybe I'm getting mixed up with another game. I don't know. That's kind of shocking though. It feels like that would definitely be something that they would have done by now. But anyways, here are the details. The first open world Tales adventure. Venture across the vast empires of Gaza, I'm probably said that wrong, Bohestvia, and the Phillies on foot, as well with hoverboards, hang gliders, boats, and aircrafts. That's pretty interesting, especially the hoverboards. I love hoverboards in any game. They're so cool. Like in Metaphor, how you can summon, it's supposed to be a skateboard, but it's a hoverboard. That was always pretty cool. And another thing, I just noticed Fantasia Neo Dimension was released. I didn't even know that. I'm picking that up today. I don't know if there's a physical edition though. I'm only seeing digital, which kind of sucks, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, there might be a review for that. I don't know why I added that in this video, but I'm really excited now. I didn't even know it released. It released on the 5th. So I guess this is kind of news. It released, if you guys didn't catch it. I don't see anyone talking about it. The reason why I mentioned Fantasian is because I saw some news over on Nintendo Life that says Japanese charts, Fantasian sneaks into the top 10 as Mario Party rolls another winner. I didn't even know it released. Like, I haven't seen any ads on YouTube. I haven't seen any ads on Twitter. Nothing. No one's talking about it. I haven't seen anyone do videos pop up on my feed. Nothing. I'm gonna pick that up today.